Half six of Alistair is missing from my short story lot here, briefly. We are waiting at the anchor for news. Terry, the manager, has given Michelle the night off so she can go to a concert, because naturally, when an anonymous voice tells Goose where he can find Alistair, thanks to the keen eye of barmaid Michelle, Goose not only does the concert but comes up with front row seats for her, Michael, Sid and Mrs. Sid. Michelle gives me the 2 tickets she had already bought, and I managed to unload these for the 100 I still owe Lou Montegrandi, and then some. But the concert finished an hour ago, and still no Michelle. I have never seen so many grown-up guys so nervous, and that includes when they've all backed the winning favourite and there's a threat of a protest being upheld. Terry has brought his own tally down from his room to replace the smashed one, but nobody is watching anything but the clock. Then in they burst, and Michelle's face is enough. Yes, she shrieks, and the whole place erupts like the correct weight siren has just sounded. Next day, Bangers and me are still high from our handiwork. Turns out Goose thanks Michelle personally and dedicates When a Man Loves a Woman to her and Michael. This seals it with Sid, who turns to his wife and says, I know what you're going to ask, and I would have said yes anyway, but my heart would not have been in it. Now I see what a complete dope I've been. Michelle is a wonderful chick, and what's good enough for Goose is good enough for me. For a time we entertain ourselves with what we should get for a wedding present. We both agree we will give the normal electrical fare a miss. Michelle deserves something classy. This diversion does not last long. Looming over us is the shadow of Natty, who will demand an ironclad account of his wife's infidelity. And so, fresh out of a better idea, that is why we are soon standing on a step outside of an art gallery in Paddo, ready to bluff Redcap into admitting his affair. A short time after we ring the bell, the door opens. Redcap looks us up and down and asks us what on earth we want in this bailiwick, or words to that effect. We say we would like to discuss art, and he falls for it, sort of. He still shoots us the kind of look passers-by give you when you're offering a $20 Rolex. Now safely ensconced in the gallery, Bangers locks the door and explains Redcap is in great danger carrying on with Mrs. Suburbs. Redcap laughs. I've never seen a guy so cool. He invites us upstairs, and now Bangers and me are both growing uneasy, but the door is locked, and by the time it would take to fiddle with the catch, we could be coshed anyway. So we have little choice but to reluctantly comply. We emerge into a nice parlour, spoiled because it's crammed with stuff you haven't seen since your old auntie's house. There's another guy sitting at a big table in a dressing gown. Redcap introduces himself as Bart and gives the dressing gown guy a rundown. The guy not so much laughs as sniggers. I tell you, when a guy in a dressing gown buttering his toast sniggers at you, you get real uneasy. What's so funny? Bangers is bluffing his heart out. You got to hand it to him. I've got Bart here, dead to the world. Bart says, Mr. Suburbs has got it wrong. I am teaching his wife art appreciation. Now, I have heard some bull twang in my time, but this is a Lulu. Bangers says he himself has been giving art appreciation classes to the girls at the giant waterbed these last 10 years or so. Bart tries not to smile and explains. Mrs. Suburbs is actually the second Mrs. Suburbs. This, Bangers says he knows already. The first Mrs. Suburbs, says Bart, was a cow whose artistic pedigree was a subscription to House and Garden. Now, I don't read House and Garden myself, but I gather from Bart's tone it is something like the Wagga Maiden compared to the Cox Plate. Bangers turns to me and confides he does recall Natty bemoaning now how the ex wasted huge wads of cash to deck the house out in furnishings remarkably similar to the aforementioned giant waterbed. Bart explains each time the new Mrs. Suburbs comes to Sydney, he inculcates, his word, her in what is tasteful and what is like a mouthful of bilge water. I am an expert, says Bart with a swish. Yeah, you're an expert bullshit artist, says Bangers, trying to retain the initiative. Bart laughs. So does the guy in the dressing gown, who I notice seems to have something the matter with his eyes. Honestly, says Bart, trying not to hiccup, you see, we're what you likely term pillow biters. To be honest, it's not a term I would use. Bangers, on the other hand, and yeah, you could have knocked me down with a feather boa I see slung over the back of the chair with the little turned legs. There's no couch in here, and from what I can see, only one bedroom. And now I'm looking closely at the dressing gown guy, I see what's funny about his eyes. Eyeshadow. A big grin spreads over Banger's face. Really? You guys kicked with the left foot? They assure us they do, and seem taken with Banger's vernacular. Bangers is ecstatic, because Natty will be ecstatic. Not only is his wife not parking stray stingrays in her garage, she is studying how to save Natty money and give his place class. How about you gentlemen stay for a drink, proposes Bart perkily. I'm expecting Bangers to bolt, but he confounds me. I wouldn't mind a tea, he says, and introduces us. I see their eyebrows rise. Watcher, says Bart. I explain, not that kind of watching. I'm more surveillance, I say. They seem impressed. Dressing gown guy turns out to be Max. We all shake hands. As Bart fiddles with the gas stove, Bangers says, we are wishing to procure a wedding present for a young couple, and in the matter of art, we would defer to you. Bart cocks an interested eye. Well, an oil painting would make an excellent gift, and I would be pleased to advise you. May I ask your budget? Bangers shuffles. Actually, we are totally skint at present, but perhaps we could do a swap like. Bart and Max exchanged looks. Not a picture of dogs playing pool, ventures Bart. I wish, I love those pictures. Bangers says, no, but I can't help notice you only have this old stove. I happen to be able to lay my hands on a very fancy, brand new microwave just over in Marrickville.